Hello and welcome to episode 13 of our Timberborn Update 7 Iron Teeth Project 1K playthrough here in cycle 18, day 6. 2.3 days left until we have a drought coming in, and things are looking really good, like I've said many times. The name of the game now is about trying to optimize, maximize production, maximize storage, and slowly get that population up as we continue building. So you might notice this part of the reservoir is still under construction, as it should be, and it's totally fine that it's not completed yet, because we already have way more food, way more water than we're going to need at this amount of population. So, last episode, we started doing all of our stuff with these trees, and that's prompted a lot of discussion. Most of it good, some of it pointing out stuff that I, may have overlooked. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit pause on this, and we're going to go into my testing world where I have made a little demonstration for you. Okay, so this is the testing world, which is Diorama, again, with everything completely removed except things I can't remove. So we have our water sources, we have the blocks around them, and then we have the bad water source, and then we have the mine. So I'm going to flash a graphic up on the screen posted in our Discord server that explains a little bit of what went wrong with how I laid out my my columns and my platforms and everything. Well, platforms, quote-unquote. So it turns out that the way that we started building these pillars was not really the most optimal way. So what I've done in this testing world is I've laid out, quote-unquote, the optimal solution, which is to start in the corner, and then to have, just so we can use this for the sake of measuring, 7 blocks spaced between left to right and top to bottom, north to south, whatever you want to call it, 5 blocks. And then you offset the grid exactly in the middle and do it again. Same exact kind of thing, just like so. So what that does is that creates, to demonstrate here in the middle, let's go ahead, go into dev mode, finish that, and then I will stack this up right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the height of what we're going to be normally working with, just to demonstrate what this looks like. This is the maximum amount of land that can be supported by a single pillar, and it is spaced so that there is minimal overlap. If you recall on the graphic, those gray squares, you can rewind if you want to go look at it. Those gray squares are the overlap on this design and the previous design, which I guess I could probably just put both of them back up here again. If I remember in editing, please remember in editing to put that back up. But it basically makes it possible for us to have the most space available on each level, completely irrigated, for us to do our stuff. So here's how this works when we come in and put actual land in place. It's going to look a little wonky because of the way that this works, but you just drag this all the way out. You might say, oh, that doesn't look right. Well, again, the way the game handles this stuff does take a little bit of time to get stuff fully... Okay, that's the wrong spot. To get stuff fully attached. But I promise you, by the time this is actually ready to go, you're going to be looking at this and saying, wow, why didn't we do this the first time? So you can see this is a lot more efficient. It's not, I'm not going to do the entire map because that would be a tremendous waste of time for, something just to demonstrate in the beginning of the episode. But this is perfect for what we're trying to do. It is not how the columns are laid out currently, but just to give you the idea that this is going to be the best option, I just wanted to show you guys now. One, as a way to keep me accountable, so you guys can say in the comments, hey, you showed us this thing and you didn't build it, so do it the right way, and then, okay, I'm going to try my best to do that. But it lines up really nicely along most of the map. On the very edge here, it does have this gap on this side and then on the back side as well. But I don't really think we're going to be doing the entire map like this, just most of it. But I don't remember exactly what the amount of land that this would support from one single column. I think it's, what is it, like 25 tiles? Between 25 and 30. The other one would have been a little bit less than that. But just so we are all on the same page, this is what I would like to do. And since we're not yet at the point where we've demolished everything, we still have time to fix it. So let's head back into the normal playthrough, and we'll talk about how we're going to solve the problem. Alright, so we're back in the regular playthrough, and let's just go ahead and hit pause. I know it's in the middle of the night, but I do want to show this to you before we get going any further. This is a lot more columns than you would have seen in the testing world. This is 4 in between and 3 in between. which obviously is not going to be ideal. Now, we don't have the ability yet to place terrain blocks. We have the science to unlock the dirt excavator and the terrain block. Hello, Thunder. Hopefully this doesn't cut power in the middle of me recording. That would be very annoying. But we have the ability this episode to go ahead and get started with this. But just so we don't make any tremendous mistakes in terms of planting trees, I'm going to put platforms in the spaces that they are supposed to go for us to be able to accomplish this. So remember what I said is we have a 5 space vertically, which means that goes there. And then we have a 7 space in between horizontally, which means this is already the correct location right here. Now, what we can't do currently is we cannot remove the columns that are already here until the ones that are going to replace them have been placed. So that does mean there's going to be a little bit of weirdness going on when we actually come in here to put... Okay, well, I guess that's fine. When we come in here to put the rest of this in place. So if you'll just bear with me here for a brief moment in time, where we can take care of this and we don't have to worry about, I guess, restarting everything. Just some things. But I do want to pause these so they don't actually get built. I'm just reserving the space. Same old song and dance, you know the drill. So this space right here, remember, is equidistant between all 4 of our supposed to be built columns. So that's where that's going to go. Same thing right here. Remember to pause both of these. And then when we come up this way, this is going to be the spot. And then this, where this one tree has been placed, is also going to be the spot. That's what we're going to start with. And as we continue working our way underground, everything here, we're going to have to remember, I'm going to try my best. I'm probably still going to mess it up because that's just how it works. But this is me telling you that we're going to do our best to make sure this can work. And you're just bear with me. I promise I'm going to do my best. You don't have to worry about me like gaming the system or whatever. That's just what we're working on. So we can let this continue. And then in due time, we will fix it. But first, I do want to come over here and start work on where we're going to put in our dirt excavator. Now, this is a building that you guys said you would like to see me utilize to excavate instead of having all of these things blown up. So we have a tremendous opportunity to use that to our advantage. Not necessarily going to do this like maybe the most efficient way that you might agree with, but I am going to have to just put this in here somewhere, which is the way that it's going to be. So I'm going to take this single piece of dynamite here, and I'm going to have to explode that, and then this dirt excavator will go here, which means it does have to be unlocked. And it has to be powered from the side in this setup. So that's going to involve us coming over here and putting an engine in this corner. It has to be put in such a way where it can actually access everything, which I think is going to make the most sense for that to be right here. Let's just double check that again before things get going. And yes, that is going to require us to have a shaft put in like that. That should work out quite nicely, and then we will have to have either a staircase or a ladder to get up to the top, but I think that is the correct location, and it is. We'll just do one of those right there, and that is going to be powered. We're going to have storage for dirt. I don't think it's really going to matter that much where exactly that goes, and I don't have space to put the big thing here. So before we build anything else, let's take advantage of this location here and just put in an industrial pile there. And then we'll put the engine on top of that, which is going to mean that this will have to become a vertical power shaft, and then one of those very simple thing to go ahead and just build. Let them take care of what they're going to take care of, and then this will end up becoming a ladder right there, and that should be perfectly fine. We'll just let it be how it's going to be, and we'll let them take care of it. So again, coming back over here just to make sure we can actually make use of this space like I said we're going to do. I'm going to let them, hopefully, at some point, remove these trees so we can put the platforms in place, keep them paused so we can do what we can do, and then we know after those are put with a P, that's the correct word. Good job. It's been a very long Friday, friends. Looking forward to having some good times with the beavers here. But once we put with a P, I swear, my brain is trying to make this video terrible. We have to put all this dirt in so we can take the rest of the dirt out, and then at that point we can just keep repeating the pattern and everything's going to be fine, and children will be laughing and singing in the streets. So that's just the way it goes. Fortunately, that is ready to go, and I can go ahead and pop this in here. Now, you also might be saying, wait a minute, you don't have all the materials to build this. Well, that's where you're wrong, friends. Because remember, we have all of our treated planks. We've had them for quite some time. In fact, we don't have enough storage to put anything else in there. But when we use 100 treated planks for this, that's really going to help us out a lot. So everything should be just fine. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and dynamite here, take this staircase out. That's going to help a lot. This does consume 200 HP, and this only produces 400, so if we can think of something else to, put over here that consumes a small amount of power, then we're not going to be wasting as many logs. But we got 1,200 of them. I'm really not worried about it. We're going to be just fine. Alright, so coming back over here. They still have not made any progress, so I guess we can leave that alone. Now, I should have been doing this before this drought started, but I did want to have all of our water storage completely full. It really doesn't matter. I think we're going to be totally fine. But, the 3,400 is more important than this being less than half of our total storage capacity. I see this like progress bar super low, and it makes me just absolutely cringe. But we're doing okay. 54 beavers. An average of 2 waters. There we go. That's not how that word works. Roughly 110 water per day. It's a 25-day drought. Technically, we're fine. We'll continue pumping. Not that big of a deal. We just have to do what we're going to do. Yeah, so this is going to take a little bit of time. I guess they're building from underneath, which, all right, cool. I'm glad that works. Good job. But you know what that reminded me of? Is that we probably do not have enough medical beds. We have 3 of them and they're all occupied, and I've got 4 injured beavers. So one of the easiest things we can do to try and make things just a little bit better is to put a couple more medical beds right here. Medical beds can have platforms on top, so that is a very good opportunity for us to use this space for other stuff as well. Like all these well-being things that I kind of touted that we're going to be so good at using, and we haven't really done too much with that yet. We have the ability to do some more stuff. We did talk about having the treated planks, and you know what comes with the treated planks. It's our beloved frog statues. Well, they're beloved. We love them. That's why they're beloved. So I'm going to pop one of those in there just because that's an easy, convenient place for that to go. And we're just going to let them do what they've got to do, but they have not put these in here. That is so disappointing. Well, I guess I can't be too upset. I can go ahead, since we are about to start producing dirt, unlock the terrain block, and now we can come back in here, peel this back once again, just because I do not trust myself. I can hit pause on all of these things that are now cleared, and I can have this go all the way up. They can't build all of this from the ground level, but they can build enough for it to matter. Just like that. And once all of these replacement pillars are in, including here, then we can get rid of these with a variety of techniques. But I think probably the easiest way to do this would be to come in from above with some dynamite and just blast it out and replace the dirt on top. Versus coming in with a bunch of tunnels and stuff, which we can absolutely still do. I guess if that's what people really want to see, then that's what people really want to see. But we do have to try and, have stuff make sense. Now, these things in here, they're not going to be able to reach because we don't have the ladders that range come all the way over here. But again, if we really have to, we can come in from above. Or we can just say, you know what, we made mistakes planting these trees, and we can just rip these out. We already have a ton of wood anyway, which honestly seems like it's going to be the least painful way to go about this, is just to rip out this row of trees. which should give us access based on... Yeah, that's going to be totally fine. I probably don't even need to get rid of all of these, but if we're going to do things the right way, we have to do it the right way. We can't accept compromises. Now we're making some dirt. We should see that come in place. B for boom. Beautiful. We're also technically building the efficient mine, which does take 300 treated planks, but we still have some scrap metal left. It's not super emergency quite yet, but this is a project they can continue working on. We don't have to feel too terrible about it. Yeah, they're already bringing in the dirt here. Good stuff. Just going to let them do what they are going to do. So this is the part where I'm going to have them time-lapse a little bit. Again, trying to be respectful of your time as much as I can. And just put in some dirt. And then, depending on how fast this goes, we may or may not end up taking out these extra pillars and starting the process of expanding this area here for tree growing. We do have to have some sort of mechanism in place to get access down here in different areas. I haven't entirely figured out where would be the best place to put in those pillars of ladders, or most likely, when we get to that point, the tubeways. But we will see what happens. And we will condense as much of this as we can so that we're not all sitting here twiddling our thumbs. Well, that'll be me for the next, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes. But for you guys, it's just 2 minutes of me rambling over the time lapse. So enjoy that, I guess. And the next time you hear from me will be when we're actually on the other side of this. All right, so let's take a look at this mess, because I know you're probably seeing this and you're like, what in the heck is going on here? Well, remember, what we're trying to do is have as many of our original... supposed to be good columns kept in place as possible while still reorganizing all of this. So, starting in the corner, I have to hit pause so the environmental sounds don't completely destroy my brain. This is our corner spot here. We talked about before 7 spaces in between. It's only going to let me go to 3, but that 7 in between is to here. That means this has to go away, and so does this. So you'll see I've already put these ladders in place here. There's a couple that I wasn't quite able to get to, but this one needs to go away. The only way we can really start that process is to take out this platform here. Now, if I go to delete this, nothing bad happens because everything has been supported. So now what we can do is we can come in here with our double dynamite and get that blasted down. That will be perfectly fine. Next up is this guy. But remember, we can't do anything with this unless we have somewhere to put dynamite. So we can either come in from above, where we currently have corn planted, or in this specific instance, we can make a single tunnel right here, which will continue to support what's above, even though we don't need it to at this exact point in time. This will remove this block, and then we can put dynamite there. So that will take care of that. Then what we have to do is we have to come up here, which conveniently we have the ladder in place. We'll do the same thing there, and that will take care of that. So then we have this one here, this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here that are all good to go. This needs to be removed. So I actually made an error in where I built my my ladders here. But that is what we're going to be doing with this as well. Just take that out, and that will take care of everything here with the exception of this, which we will also use the tunnel strategy with. This guy is correct. Totally fine. This guy's also correct. Totally fine. This one here is not correct and needs to go away. So that will be replaced with the tunnel, which, because of the way tunnels work, will not actually demolish anything before this is built. This guy has to have a ladder in place so he can have the terrain block put in, and that is all well and good. This guy needs to go away. So, you know the drill. We'll pop that in there and put the tunnel in place there. Remember that we have a 7 wide spacing side to side viewed from this direction. So that should be totally fine. This is a crucial support pillar that has to stay in place. This one here needs to go away. And we can easily do that just the same as we've done everything else. This is already supported here. I'm not going to get rid of it yet, just because I want to be extremely, extremely careful. But this is going to go away eventually. And then, of course, this is the correct one. This one also needs to go away, which means that gets the ladder there and also gets replaced with a tunnel. So that will leave us here, here, which this one actually still has to have something replaced with actual dirt, which I think... I do want to check this. See, that doesn't let me delete it, so that means it has to have support before I can get rid of this. We'll have to come back to that. I believe that will require... maybe, if I can get away with this, me to put in a triple here as a support, which should work. And then I can come in with that, but we will see what happens. Anyway, this one, 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 and very soon this one will be staying. This stays, and this one, how many times have I said this one? This one gets removed, and then we'll blast it down. That should be totally fine, should be everything ready to go. I don't think there's anything else I'm going to have to adjust with this. I just wanted to, you know, take a little bit of time to explain it before we, you know, commit to doing stuff. So it makes sense, and also, you know, it helps me to visualize stuff as well. We sacrificed a bunch of trees for this to happen, but don't worry. It's going to be fine. Just go ahead and make sure these are all marked for cutting. They're not all accessible. It is what it is. We also have our dirt excavator operating, getting us a dirt, and this is actually pretty full, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this just so we can have, you know, some of these beavers back. But we've done well. We've made it so that we've actually been able to make some pretty good progress, and we didn't have to blow up all of this land. Now, we also do still have a tremendous amount of explosives available, so it's always possible for us to come in here and continue blasting things out, but still making some nice progress. No huge amount of complaints. Now, we have still only 56 beavers because the well-being hasn't been able to go up that much. We will start fixing that soon. Remember, we talked a little bit last episode about well-being things, and I said we're going to get into different things. Well, this is probably a good time to start doing that. And the detailer is probably the next one that makes sense for us to go ahead and get, there it is, and get unlocked. I just have to find space for, I guess one of them is probably okay. Oh, come on. There you go. And we'll go with just, you know, the classic. Get those tails stamped, let them do what they're going to do, and just keep on keeping on. So, you might notice also that our stores of food are slowly being depleted. That is because we have these food factories paused. Only so many beavers to go around. We will continue fixing the problem. But everything else that's being produced, including berries, I was actually very happy to see berries are as high as they are. And the fermented cassavas are looking good. Fermented soybeans, not so much, and I think that's because we're not growing enough soybeans. But remember, folks, remember, this whole area over here is supposed to have additional stuff planted. And this farmhouse can only reach to here, so I guess that is something we're going to have to take a look at. Yeah, I'll tell you what. This space here can be deplanted. This farmhouse can actually reach all of this, actually. I suppose I'll have to take a closer look at what this can actually reach and unplant accordingly. Because all of this can be turned back into regular farmland to grow some other crops, and eventually all the trees will be underground right where they belong. So, I know this is possibly confusing, possibly frustrating. I know it's the way it is. It's fine. But we got a beef or boom opportunity here, so hit that thing off, which means that can go away. And we are one step closer, friends. One step closer. You just gotta trust the process. Piece by piece. That should be good to go there. And I'm going to try to delete this now. Yep, that worked just fine, which means that can get put in there. And we'll go ahead and pop in another set of ladders. We got 2 more booms. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I love it when a plan comes together. It is tremendous. Stop saying tremendous. I will when it stops being tremendous. Alright, so that is also looking like a good opportunity to... Ah! It's not letting me. That is because I put this in the wrong wrong thing here. This is actually supposed to be a terrain block. My mistake. I'm glad we caught that. Oh, there's so much stuff we have to fix. So much stuff we have to fix. I should be able to get rid of this. Yes. Good, 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 good. And this needs to be marked. I wish I had, like, colored flags that could attach to stuff so I can actually see what I'm supposed to be working with here. Okay, this should be able to go, and it is. Very good. This can go away once again. We are getting there, folks. We are definitely getting there. B for boom. This also needs to go away, and yep, there we go. I'm always kind of nervous stuff is just going to get completely disappeared when I'm working on this, but you know how this goes. That was successfully dealt with. This should be now ready to go, and it is. Very good. Which means this also should be ready to... There we go. Good job. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm so glad we decided to do this. Like, I know it might be a little irritating to see me do the same kind of thing in different ways in 2 episodes in a row. But it's really important that we get this right. Really, really, really important. And I'd much rather fix it right at the very beginning, even if it's slightly irritating, than have it be wrong forever. You know, it's, again, it's important to get stuff right. So get that double there. And that should, being the operative term, wrap up most of what we're trying to do with that at this exact moment in time. Okay, I got 3 of these. Well-being should start going up thanks to our detailer here soon, hopefully. Yeah, 9 out of 57 beavers have now applied my face to their tails. And the rest of these are going to take a little bit more space than we really have access to. But let's not forget, we've filled the entire river here with mangrove trees, which is good because that gives us a food. Wait a second. We don't have a full-size storage for the mangrove fruits. I think I remember saying that it was, you know, going to be completely pointless for us to try and worry about that. But, you know what? You know what? We're going to need a complete full storage for mangrove fruits. Because I didn't think we'd be able to actually amass that many. So that will solve that problem. Still have tons of dirt. They haven't started doing anything with the efficient mine building yet, which is honestly kind of confusing because there's not that much more construction going on. So maybe they're this guy can't reach the last of the scrap metal. Okay. Well, all we have to do is just move that right there. And this is the last scrap metal on the map, so I guess this is now a normal priority job. Remember, these are deprioritized, so let's let them get to work on that because the treated planks are going to take a little bit of time for them to build. 3 hours per plank, and we are down 110, so that is that's a lot of hours. that is in fact a tremendous amount of hours. Let's come back and check on our mess here. Just a little bit left. Then that means that can go away. And once we get all this stuff cleaned up, friends, I think we are going to be in really, really, really good shape. Just get those brought back up. And I like this pattern so much more, so much better. But let's take a look at what we're actually going to be able to expand. And it looks like most of the way through here is fine. It doesn't really come back this way, this contour, until we get up to here. So now the way we're going to have to handle this is, again, keep in mind what we're working with here. We have 2 entire rows that do not have to be messed with before we have to put any more of these things in. And then we'll just have to build around, just like this. Right, like so. And then we have 2 whole rows before we have to do anything else, and then we build around that. Or I guess unbuild around that. Same deal. You already know. So that's what I'm going to start with, is just expanding it that way. We will, of course, have to come through here, but there's not going to be any issues with, you know, having additional pylons that had to be built or something, so That should be okay, and that is totally within the realm of possibility for the land that we have to excavate. Of course, this will be blasted down with our double dynamite. It's not all tunnels, it's just the easiest way with what we're doing right now to get this part of the map going with it. Just continue expanding as we can. You know the drill. So, soybeans are severely lacking at this point in time. We'd like to get those numbers up. I'm not really going to reconfigure all of this, so it might look kind of stupid for a while, but remember, all of this is going to get redone eventually. I just have to have something growing so that we don't have to, you know, spend too much time just waiting for an entire block to get completely undone so we have everything perfect. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good, etc., so on and so forth. I don't know if City Planner Plays came up with it, but that's where I remember seeing it the most, so I will credit him for that. Halfway through the efficient mine construction, except for gears. A little bit behind, well, I guess a little bit ahead of a third of the way through there. But the treated planks, again, are the most crucial component for us because they do take time to build. But we're over halfway through there, and that shouldn't be too terribly bad. We've got 4 days left in our drought, so I am going to go ahead and turn on, I guess, 3 more of these deep water pumps. Remember that it's going to pull beavers from the less popular jobs, or the ones that are deprioritized, including the builder's hut and then these inventors that honestly we probably don't need to even have still, but it's a good way to have extra beavers should we ever run into any of those, have something productive to do. So taking a look at this, remember each one of these requires explosives, extract, and planks. We have full storage of, well, basically all of those ingredients. So I think, you know, because they're all trying to build this mine, then these are super deprioritized, so that's not an issue. But they're trying to build this, bringing all those materials in. Once that is close enough to being done, they can come in here. Then they will continue working on all of this. Seeing, you know, all the stuff that has to get done, I do think it is going to have to be another time lapse once again. So that is what I'm going to do here, is I'm just going to have this sit here, let them bring it in as they have the ability to do so. Our water and our food situations are still looking pretty good. I might have to do some adjustments during this time lapse to, you know, turn on production of the eggplant and the corn rations as I see fit. But we should be looking pretty good. Well-being should continue to stay around 23, maybe head a little bit higher. But we will see what they get to. Alright, friends. This area is finally ready to be exploded. So let's go ahead and, well, hopefully nobody gets in here. But let's go ahead and set this off. B for boom. Absolutely glorious. you love to see it. So we're going to continue expanding this. Obviously, we don't really need all these trees right now, but the time will come when we do. And when that time arrives, we'll be very glad that we made all this space available. So, other stuff that we can start doing, like I said, we have to plant some more soybeans. I think it's easier for the quote-unquote quality of the video product if I just, you know, focus on the time-lapse and take care of other stuff later. But there's going to be more soybeans planted here. Food stores are looking really good. Water stores are looking really good. There's not a lot of water left. In fact, it's already down to this same level here. So I'm just going to pause all the water pumps. No real reason not to. These small tanks here, I think would be smart of us to go ahead and just, because this is the space we have available, just put in a single medium tank. And then we have a spot right next to these breeding pods, friends, that I think it would be a smart place to put advanced breeding pods. Or at least one. I will put a single advanced breeding pod, and we will start replacing the normal breeding pods with advanced pods in due time. Remember, I'm trying to slowly increase the amount of beavers we have. Although we have the infrastructure now to support probably 3 or 4 times as many beavers as we currently have. We're trying to get our stores up, and you know, the fewest amount of beavers that we can have is probably going to be best. But we definitely could stand to be probably about 65 to 70 right now and not be in too bad of a spot, so that's why we're doing that. Looks like we've got 100 some mangrove fruits, which is great to see. That's about as many as we could probably keep right now with the population we have. I did have the idea, and I think you guys have mentioned this as well in previous comments, that it might not be dumb for us to have at least part of the lowest level as a mangrove tree farm. Just flood it so we can always have mangrove trees. I don't know if that's a great idea. It's going to depend on how much water we're able to store and pump every single season. But I will keep that in mind. Again, we don't need to plant all this yet because we're completely full on logs, and I'm not tremendously worried about it. But I do want, before we say goodbye today, I do want to go ahead and check range in here. Okay, good. Good. Okay, what about the lumberjack flag? Alright, you know what? Just because we're already here, and it does us no harm to have trees that are already grown, I'm going to go ahead and just say, let's plant all these trees, get the rest of this popped back in place. I'm going to leave, for the time being, this path in place, just so we have some way to access stuff. And I'm going to put a lumberjack flag, probably right about here is honestly fine. Probably okay. Just put that right there, so every tree can be cut down. And we'll just let that get planted continuously. Everything will be just fine. I'm so glad we fixed our problem with the spacing of the columns. That was a tremendous, tremendous good thing for us to do. And of course we can keep going, well, almost all the way through here until we get to that point. But that is going to be a task for another day. Let's just briefly, go over what all we've accomplished. I know it's going to be another shorter episode based on how much time-lapsing we've done, but we've accomplished a lot. And I think most notably, getting the terraforming started, getting a little bit more of our levees built. We still have plenty of other stuff we can be building. Let's not get it twisted here, but this is a very good start. The efficient mine is operating somewhat slowly, but it is operating, and we're able to have as much metal as we need. Every 9 hours we're producing 5 scrap metal, and we do have every 2 hours 4 being consumed. So it's not technically enough, but the way things are set up right now, I think it's going to be fine. I don't think we have any cause to worry. We can always slow stuff down. We can start building some more storage, so on and so forth. But I think before we commit to building a lot more storage, we want to have all of the basic first level terraforming done. And that's not going to be something that's going to take too much more time, provided we know exactly how we're going to have stuff situated. Remember that this stream of bad water is going to have to exist somewhere on the map, and we are going to want to generate power with it. We do have the option to research the large water wheels, the amount of water coming out of this, just to show you what it is. Go into dev mode real quick. Of course, I can't click on that because there's a discharge in place. Well, it's 3. It's always 3. This one might actually be more than 3, but let's say it's 3. All this water will fit through 1 wide, totally fine. Even if it was 6, it would fit through 2 wide, totally fine, provided that the drops were staggered. So I think eventually that's what we're going to want to do, assuming we're not going to combine the overflow here, which, eventually we probably want to. But short-term plan would be to funnel this into a 2-wide channel, put large water wheels in, and probably just have this be completely straight off the side of the map for the time being, which will of course require reconfiguring some of this stuff, but will give us a lot more space to have trees and all sorts of stuff down underneath, and then we'll see what happens. I'm not entirely sure exactly how many layers of trees we're going to want to have. I can't imagine we're going to need more than 2. But we're also not going to be producing a whole lot of industrial stuff, because remember, we're trying not to have bots. So that, honestly, once we build most of what we build, we're not going to need to have that much of an industrial complex here. Just whatever it takes to fuel the power necessary for our food production, and then whatever recreation we want to have for 1,000 beavers, which, remember, motivatoriums require power, mud baths require power, wind tunnels require power, and, well, that's all for power required stuff. But there's enough for us to have to probably have, I don't know, 10,000 HP worth of production, depending on how we want to have other stuff going. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error, a little bit of... I don't know what I was going to come up with for the rest of that, but this is a good time for us to go ahead and end this episode. I really do appreciate you watching this series, giving me some good feedback, positive and constructive, always welcome. And I feel like some of the constructive stuff we've had offered up to us in the comments and in the Discord and stuff has led to some very good changes in the series. Specifically, the advancing of the time lapses, and then particularly this episode, getting this setback. Please never feel like you can't say something. Even if I don't end up doing it, I do always want to hear your thoughts, because remember, it's a Let's Play, not a Watch Me Play. And you guys are a very, very important part of everything we do here. So, Beard Boosters, you see the names on the screen directly subsidizing the series and the channel and myself, making it possible for us to just focus on having fun with the beavers, and then I don't have to have ads for stuff people probably don't want to buy and I don't want to sell you. So, truly, truly appreciate it. Always have, always will. You're very special to me and to everyone else in the community, and I'm glad that we get to have such a positive experience just playing a fun game with each other and enjoying a little bit of time without having to worry about all the other nonsense that's happening right now. So whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we will see you in the next video. Don't forget, this series is 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays starting on Tuesday, and the Water Beavers are Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to get some good stuff done. We'll see you later, friends. Bye-bye.